level.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
You know, they
So
have a better idea of what you're going through.
Exactly, yeah. So people that can relate and be like, okay, yeah, I do this too, obviously makes me not feel alone, and they can also reach out and be like, okay, I do this too, you're not alone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's nice to have like an online community that you can connect with, you know, they can feel supported, you can feel supported.
Yes.
That's
Speaking of
really
online community, thank you everybody for tuning in
Yes.
and dropping us some lovely comments. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all that
Smash
good
that
stuff.
like button.
Ring the bell, join the notification squad.
Follow my TikTok if you want. You don't. You really don't have
There you
to.
go.
But you know, self-promotion here.
Shamelessly self-promoting. That's what we're all about here.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, the cheap plug. Well,
Ouch.
I'm here. Shall we move on to our next little topic here?
Yeah. So the last thing that is, I think, that's on our mind is that can comedy actually can be used to cope with or heal mental health?
Oh, 100%.
It's a big old question.
100%. You know, I kind of said it before, so I'll make myself look even better.
Okay. All right.
Not a big
One
deal.
step back.
Not a big
He's
deal.
about to
Josh's head
flex.
is getting too
Please.
big.
Please,
Come on.
please. No, like if you know, I kind of mentioned it before. If you're not laughing and you're not having a good time and you're not making light of things, and you're doing something wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. There are times like you look at a situation, you look at a bad situation, and you have to pull yourself out of it.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're just you're gonna have a bad day, and you're gonna have eventually a bad week, because you know it's like a ripple effect or a domino effect. So to get yourself out of it, obviously, like laughter is something, or jokes are something. They might be dark, they might be morbid at times, but they get you out of it. Katie, what do you think?
You have to look back at some things and learn to laugh. You know, like. Honestly, nothing is too serious. Like you just gotta look back. You just gotta look back and laugh at some of this stuff. Make memories, everything.
There's a comedian that I really love, Jim Jeffries, and he is known for his controversial material and his controversial delivery.
Good choice.
And his controversial lifestyle. He's a very controversial guy. But he has this kind of philosophy that he's talked about in his specials before, that you can joke about anything. And I'm kind of with him on most of that, because, well, a joke is not meant to be taken seriously. A joke isn't meant to be, you know, you're not supposed to be basing all your life decisions on jokes and what comedians are telling you. It's meant to be taken in a relaxed setting, and it normalizes some difficult conversations. So, I mean, with some tact and with grace and understanding, I think that comedy can be a really useful tool to help cope with difficult things, especially with the topic of mental health.
Yeah.
Again, you don't want to be insensitive,
Obviously.
you know, but it easily normalizes the conversation, and it makes it, you know, user-friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
So that people who don't understand what someone might be going through can have an inkling and realize, okay, it's okay to talk about it. It's not a taboo subject. Look, it's lighthearted. We can look at it with some positivity.
Adding on to that, a lot of the time, I joke about my mental health.
Yeah.
So just using humor is definitely a way to cope, because I use humor on TikTok to just not make fun of mental health whatsoever, but make fun of like myself and how I deal with my mental health issues sometimes.
Right.
Welcome to today's Comfortable Talks, where it's going to be a bit of a conversation about when comedy goes too far. Or how do you like to put it, Katie?
Does comedy really slap?
Yes, now that is a direct reference to a recent event in the Oscars, which we will be touching base on later. But for the first question of our bit of panel discussion here is, can comedy go too far? And if so, where do we draw that line? Now, Mihir, I'm going to throw this one to you first.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on the matter?
I think as we saw in the previous episode, at times comedy can go too far. There are times that people have their personal lines, they have their personal boundaries. There are certain events that you don't make jokes about. But being said that, there are certain times when if it is a general event that has happened to everybody, there is a certain gray area that you can still work upon.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And Josh, one comment I've heard quite a bit about comedy is that you don't punch down, you punch up. So do you think that's a fair representation of where we should draw the line?
100%. I don't remember where I first heard this this little saying, statement, whatever you want to call it, but it's pretty much exactly that. You know, if you're working your way up, you know, don't be, you know, just be nice. Be nice to people. You know, don't make jokes.
Don't burn bridges.
Don't burn bridges. Don't, you know, don't make jokes that people wouldn't like, because if you're working your way up, who knows? You know, one day you might be falling down, and you'll never know who's will or won't be there to catch you.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying, where as my mama would always put it, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I think comedy at times does take exception to that. Katie, do you feel roughly the same?
Yeah, relating to what your mom says, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I feel like we all still do that. For comedy, where it draws a line for me would be anything racial, homophobic, anything like that. Like, that's crossing the line 100%.
Okay, so we definitely agree that there is a line and it should be drawn, it can't be crossed, which to me is comforting to know, but I know we have other questions to get to, so we're going to throw it off to the next question.
All right, well, I'll take this one. So, like we mentioned earlier, we're riding on the Oscar coattails here. So, when a joke does go too far, how do we respond to it? And maybe let's think about how should we respond to it.
Yeah, that's always a important distinction to make. How do we respond, recognizing our own internal workings, and then how should we respond when we really take a moment to think about things? Because as we'll see in the clip relating to the Oscars, sometimes we do get hot-headed and our response is not what it should be. So starting again with you, Mihir, how do you like to respond and how should you respond?
Okay, so I'm going to speak from personal experience, being very honest.
Well, that's where you should be speaking.
Yes, sir. So, speaking from personal experience, there were times when I was on stage, I was doing my bit, and I had usually when you're a comic, right, you have an entire bit ready. That, oh, you know what, this is the first thing, this is the second thing, and then you move forward, and then you build up to that final crescendo. That's how usually it is. But at times there are, how do I put it, hecklers in the crowd, and they have their word and they have their say as to what your joke was like, and they give you real-time feedback, you know, and not in the form of laughters or saying, nah, it wasn't good. It was just they use their words at times. So I think that's a very good communication that I'd like to have. At times hecklers do give me good content that I can put for the next video or for the next stand-up bit that I'm doing. So I think if I have a heckler, if there is someone who comes up to me and he's like, you know what, you suck, you're bad, there was the worst stand-up ever. I'm like, well, you know what, why don't you do it? Because, you know, the job of a comedian is extremely, it's difficult. It's not easy to come up with jokes. It's not easy to, make everybody laugh. So yeah, I would actually embrace them, but with words.
Embrace them with words.
Yeah.
How about you, Katie? Do you get hot-headed with your responses, or how would you like to respond when a joke gets under your skin?
Personally, my body goes into fight or flight mode, and right away I'm just like, fight, let's go. And I'll probably say something that I don't mean, but in a way I should respond. I should take a second, take a deep breath, and kind of evaluate the situation and have an adult conversation with this person or whomever it may be and take it from there as opposed to just flying off the handle.
An adult conversation.
An adult conversation.
Oh, that's very impressive. Now, I was thinking about making a short joke. Like, are you actually tall enough for those adult conversations?
No, it comes up a little short.
Okay, it comes up a little bit short. Now, Josh, do you have any thoughts on that question?
Not overly. No. A lot of the time when I'm getting heckled, it's, you know, it means I'm doing a good job. That's my job.
In your industry, for
as
sure.
a wrestler, yeah. I know I'm doing a good job if people are getting mad and saying some mean things about me and hopefully my family. But
You're going to be seeing that on Friday too.
Okay, then. Well, we've definitely gone through the first couple of questions, and we are going to throw it to the intermission where we do have the clip with Will Smith and Chris Rock, just to make sure we know what we are referencing to, as the later two questions definitely reinforce that subject matter and discuss it more in depth. So I hope you guys enjoy the clip as we go to a brief intermission.
Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane jump.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay? Okay. That was a greatest night in the history of television.
All right, so, hello.
Alex, you look different.
Yeah, I went through an immense physical transformation watching that clip. That was incredible. Probably the best performance at the Oscars I've ever seen.
Toss that mask away.
Get out of here.
All right, so we're going to welcome Michael.
Thank you.
Do a little switcheroo with Alex.
Evans.
Because I loved watching that so much, and I just had to come on and chat with you guys about the significance of that moment. And I've heard a lot of people talking about how, oh, you know, what kind of example does that set, that a guy can get up, slap somebody in the face, and then win an award, and not only win an award, but get a standing ovation for Best Actor. And to them, I always said, well, what kind of kid is watching the Oscars anyway? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the kind of entertainment, like, what happened to Zaboomafoo? What happened to Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
I'm seriously asking, what happened to those shows?
No, but
I think Blue's Clues is still on.
I think
think-
Zaboomafoo
I think.
unfortunately passed away.
I did hear about
Oh.
that. The actual lemur in the show did that. For those of you who don't know, Zaboomafoo was a kids show here in Canada.
Icon. Canadian icon.
Canadian icon. They brought in guests from the Toronto Zoo, guests being the animals. But let's get back to the topic at hand. Mihir, I think you had a question for
yeah,
this
so
one.
I have a question, that is, how do we disengage from comedy that goes a little too far while recognizing that it can be helpful to others?
Right. Well, I mean, I think slapping somebody in the face isn't a good way to disengage.
Obviously not. But like, you know, there are times when we make jokes about something like this is historically accurate. As we said in the previous video, that jesters was someone who used to make fun of kings and queens and of the royals so that they can keep them in check.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we disengage the comedy that goes too far while keeping everyone, like, you know?
Well, the key thing there is that if the king didn't like the joke, he could always, well, slap him, right? And in today's world, everyone is king, right? Everyone has the rights and liberties that were once only for exclusive individuals. So if you don't like something now, well, apparently, you can just slap your way into something you do like.
No.
Or not.
No.
Oh, okay, I see you fighting. I see you fighting. Come on.
I mean, it's funny, but no, I don't really think that's not the right thing to do.
Of course.
It's not a good influence.
Unfortunately, I would say, okay, about the influence thing. You said not a lot of kids are watching Oscars, to be very honest.
Well, if this hadn't happened, I wouldn't have known the Oscars even existed.
Exactly. So now everybody knows.
Right.
And unfortunately, this kind of is Will Smith basically lost. Why? Because one, he lost his temper, and second, he basically lost that particular thing where Will Smith won an Oscar. Will Smith won an Oscar for a movie that we are not talking about.
Oh,
But
no
we
one's
are talking about that slap, and it was his first Oscar, and people are not they are not into it. They're like, oh, okay. I mean, like, sure. I mean, Will Smith won an Oscar. He gave some speech about being kind to each other.
Was that really his first Oscar?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was
I
his
didn't know
first
that.
Oscar.
What was it
Learn
even
something new every
for?
day.
Exactly.
What was it
right?
even for?
Exactly. It was for King Arthur, his role in King Arthur.
Okay.
I thought.
But
No. I thought it was for when he was playing the dad of like the tennis players.
oh no, it was for I'm Legend, I suppose. No. I don't know.
King Richard?
King, our
Oh,
fact checkers have said it's
Okay,
King
King Richard.
King Richard. Ah,
Okay.
There we go.
there you go.
There we go.
Kyla basically said this. Thank you so much for the comments. Also, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, write that down. We are actually seeing them right now.
Yes.
I know my whole family's watching.
That's
so
right.
hi, I love you and I miss you.
Hi, Katie's mom.
So, Kyla
Got a
basically
song
asked
for
this-
you. Okay.
I'm so sorry. Kyla basically said that violence is not the answer. No matter how
right.
angry
Right.
you are,
That's
Yeah.
right.
it's not the answer. And like I think that we all agree on that. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, was the joke in bad taste? Probably. What's also in bad taste is hitting somebody in the face.
Yeah.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
But that's the thing, internet doesn't forget. There is a clip out there where Will Smith is making fun of a similar condition that a man had. And this was back in, I think, 90s.
Yeah.
And he made a similar joke like, oh my God, he had to, and I'm quoting Will Smith, that he has to shave his head every single day. And if he can make that joke and laugh about it, well, I don't know. I mean,
Which I think is indicative of the way times have changed. I don't know.
I personally want to add on to what you said about how many kids are watching the Oscars.
Okay.
Because not a lot of kids were probably watching the Oscars, but social media, it blew up so fast. The amount of kids that are on social media like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, obviously that's where they're going to see it if they don't watch the Oscars directly. I just wanted to put that out there. We're going to move on to our fourth question. Alrighty. Are you guys ready?
would you?
Yeah, sure. I'll do the honors.
This is my question.
I think Katie's got
This is mine.
Katie's?
This is
I
mine.
was gonna say this is super not mine.
I'm not going to jump the gun here.
Okay.
right over.
Does one person's right to free speech eclipse another's right to be offended?
Yay.
Ooh,
Who wants to take
that's
that?
a
And I will
tough
not be
one.
commenting on this. I asked it, I am not commenting on it.
Is that the reason why you asked that question?
It
Because
is.
you don't want to comment?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Smart play.
Yeah.
I mean, freedom of speech is a fundamental right.
Yeah.
But I think what a lot of people forget is that it is also a responsibility. That when, governments and democracies are founded on free speech, the intention is that you use that free speech responsibly and for the betterment of society and whatnot. Free speech shouldn't be a weapon.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used to inflict harm. It should be used to build people up and to help them grow. Is that sometimes painful? Yes. Do we sometimes point out the flaws in a system, to help move it along the right course? Absolutely. That's the point of it. But if you're using your right of free speech to simply belittle another person, I think you really need to analyze for yourself whether or not your free speech is something that other people value as highly as you do.
Yeah. Josh?
At the end of the day, though, it's it's tough, right? because yes, sure, you have the ability and the freedom and the right to say what's on your mind.
Sure.
At the end of the day, it's not overly, wow. There's an exception to every rule, but
True.
let's just start by saying that.
Yeah.
But it's not, at least in my opinion, it's not your responsibility to make sure that everyone is happy with what you're saying because, for example, say you have a peach tree. Peaches grows on tree, right?
Sure. Yeah. You have a
Silly
peach tree.
question.
yeah.
We live in Canada. It's very cold here. So
Nothing grows on
Nothing
trees
grows. Not yeah. So
So you have a peach.
you have the best peach tree in all the land.
Okay.
And you grow the best peaches, and you say to everybody, "I have the best peaches. These are the best peaches. You have to try them." And somebody doesn't like them. Oh, well. What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So coming back to what I was saying, it's not your job to please everyone.
Yeah.
It's not, at least in my opinion, it's not your responsibility to worry about what other people are thinking and if they're going to be worried about this and they're going to be worried about that. But that's at least the way I see it.
Right. Yeah. And you can't please everyone.
That's fair.
Exactly. I agree with that, but also at the same time, you also got to watch your mouth.
Of course, yeah.
But
True.
But that's the thing, right? I mean, you can be offended at something. You can be because with as you said, and as Uncle Ben said, what's the Uncle Ben quote? I forgot.
Who's Uncle Ben?
From Spider-Man.
With great
With
power.
great power
power
comes
great
great
responsibility.
I'm
responsibility.
so sorry.
And
I
with
forgot.
that comment of great power comes great responsibility, I think it is time that we should wrap up
Yeah.
today's
Yeah.
comfortable
Right.
talk.
That time.
If I can just make one final comment on
One
the topic,
comment, that is
because
it?
Yeah.
One
And
thing
you're
that
done.
we've been, I guess, that I've been neglecting to add to all this with the notion of free speech is the nature of comedy.
Yeah.
It is by itself incredibly brittle, and if you get it wrong, you get it wrong. But by and large, I think comedians work with a trial through error
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah.
They have to push that envelope and keep pushing that envelope. Otherwise, they become obsolete within entertainment. And I think whether or not this specific incident with Chris Rock was a good example of that, I think that comedians shouldn't be afraid of offending people when they craft their material and when they perform, because otherwise the comedy is going to get very stale very fast. That's all I wanted to say on the matter.
All right, well said. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, who commented, who's engaging. We all really appreciate it. We hope that you enjoyed our comfortable talks about comedy, mental health, everything.
Make sure you smash that like
Oh my
button.
God.
Hit the subscribe.
Click the bell icon for more
Join the
content.
notification squad.
Right here.
Thanks for watching. Bye.